What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be looking at the Jets offseason so far, what they've done before the draft, at the draft, and after the draft, and what could be to come. So I'm not going to waste any time getting into this. I'm going to start with something that, we already talked about a ton. I made a video about it already. It's the Pierre-Luc Dubois to the LA Kings trade. In my opinion, the Winnipeg Jets came away like bank robbers. They got such a large return from the LA Kings, a four-piece return, including Gabe Vilardi being the centerpiece, Alex Iafallo, Rasmus Kupari, along with a second-round pick next season. That's Montreal's second-round pick, so it's going to be likely pretty high. So high 30s, second-round pick more than likely for Pierre-Luc Dubois, who got a monster contract at 8 years, 8.5 per year. So, you know what? The Jets come away with three really nice forward pieces and a pretty high pick in next year's draft. This is very good, and, Winnipeg came away with just a massive haul. I really didn't expect that. Obviously, everybody in Montreal was, thinking that they were going to get him for pretty much nothing, and that just did not happen. The LA offer, I don't know how they would have even topped that, honestly. But LA gives up a lot of pieces to get their maybe number one guy for the future. We'll see how PLD's career goes in LA. But I really like the trade for Winnipeg. It brings in a lot of pieces that they can use this season. It might not necessarily be, franchise pillars or anything like that, like a Pierre-Luc Dubois could be, but they are very good players. I think that Gabe Vilardi has a chance to break out this season. Alex Iafallo reminds me a lot of Andrew Kopp. And, Rasmus Kupari is a guy that could probably play on the fourth line right now, maybe, jump onto the third line if he gets a chance, right? If he gets more ice time, I think that he could, kind of carve himself out a role with this team, and I'd love to see that. But first order of business was Pierre-Luc Dubois. That was dealt with before the draft, and I thought it was handled really well. Good job for Chevy there. The Jets go into the draft pretty much right after the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade, and, honestly, aside from the first round, I didn't love a lot of the picks in this draft. I thought, the beginning and the end of the draft were good, but in the middle just was not good. Colby Barlow, fantastic pick. I loved it. And near the end, they take Thomas Milic, which I really liked, taking that flyer on him. 20-year-old overager, does get drafted in the 5th round, was the best goalie in the WHL last season for the Seattle Thunderbirds, and teammate of Brad Lambert. I really did like those picks. Everybody else, we'll wait and see what happens with them, but I don't think they were the best picks ever. I'm not too high on this year's draft class. Only 5 players were selected. Jets had a pick in the 1st round, 3rd round, 2 in the 5th, and 1 in the 7th. But, Colby Barlow could end up being a very good player for the Jets, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Just a fantastic goal scorer. Great character guy. I that's all I hear about this guy is that his, character is unbelievable. Just a fantastic dude. So, always love to see that. Him and Rucker McGroarty, I think, are going to be two, pillars for this team for a long time. And I'm excited to see how those two mesh together in the future. But Colby Barlow, very nice pickup for the Winnipeg Jets. And I just can't wait to see him score goals. Can't wait till he makes the NHL. Following the draft, I already talked about this in a separate video, so if you want to go check that out, definitely go check it out. Go click on the channel, go watch it. But Blake Wheeler getting bought out by the Winnipeg Jets, a day that, many didn't see coming, maybe a few months ago, but Blake Wheeler is not a Winnipeg Jet anymore. He's been bought out. And, hey, you know what? It was a great career here in Winnipeg for Blake. It was, great watching him through all those runs, all those, the bad days in the at the beginning when the Jets moved back here, all the way to, the runs that he made in 2017 to 2019. Those years were special. Blake Wheeler was truly elite, top 20 player in the league, and he was a lot of fun to watch. So Blake Wheeler is bought out, leaves on good terms. And it was pretty somber, honestly. I mean, I got pretty emotional in the video that I made, just quickly reacting to it. But, Blake's gone, and we'll talk about him again in a second here as I talk about free agency. But Blake Wheeler no longer a Winnipeg Jet. Pierre-Luc Dubois and Blake Wheeler both gone. Changes happening in Winnipeg. Now we head to free agency, and look, the Jets don't do a lot in free agency, right? We know this, and they started off by doing a very quiet move, just like I thought they would, and they signed Colin Delia. Delia really isn't a goaltender that I'm like, oh, wow, I can't wait to see him play, but, if the Jets are trying to, maybe not be the greatest team ever. He's a fine backup goalie, right? 29-year-old. He used to play for Vancouver last season. It's just a 1-year, $775K deal, but it is a one-way contract, which is interesting. So I wonder if, if teams are desperate for goaltenders, if he does get picked up off waivers at some point in the season, if that is to happen, right? We still have to see what happens with Connor Hellebuyck. Is he gone? I still think it's likely he's gone before the season starts, but not great numbers last year for, Colin Delia. I always want to call him Connor Delia. No idea why. I know I'm going to slip up sometime this year, but Colin Delia probably best suited to be a average backup, and hopefully there's no situation where he is the starter for the Jets if the Jets are trying to win hockey games. Next up, this guy could be the new starter, legitimately, if Connor Hellebuyck is not in the fold come next season. Laurent Brossoit, a very familiar name who, we know a lot about here in Winnipeg. He was a part of the runs. He went to Vegas, and now he's a Stanley Cup champion. He signs a 1-year, $1.75 million contract with the Jets. He went actually 7-0 last year in the games that he played, so definitely no slouch. Brossoit had a great year, and definitely performed in the playoffs as well. It's just injuries definitely, hindered him. And it just, I don't know. I like this signing in the fact that, Brossoit is great when he's healthy, but how healthy is he, right? He had surgery. He's always hurt, it seems, for the last couple of seasons. Will his health be an issue in Winnipeg? I hope not, because I would actually like to see this guy play and get like a legit starting job role, right? I love Laurent, and I think that he's a very good goaltender. Maybe a little bit underappreciated in the league, but, I just hope that he can stay healthy. Really good stats last season in a small sample size, 2.17 goals against average with a .927 save percentage. So it is what it is. If this is the tandem going forward for Winnipeg, don't expect much going on. Laurent Brossoit and Colin Delia. I think that, Brossoit's a pretty okay goaltender. I don't think that he's elite by any means. Delia, I don't think he's good at all, to be totally honest with you, and he will be the backup if Connor Hellebuyck is not to be a Winnipeg Jet. Next up here, we do have Vlad Namestnikov, who is a re-signee, the first re-signee that I'm going to be talking about here in the video. Signs a 2-year, $2 million per year contract with the Winnipeg Jets. It's worth $4 million. He's a guy that stepped in, played in the middle six for a lot of last season, had really good chemistry actually with Nikolai Ehlers. Those two were fun to watch together. I'm assuming that Vlad is, probably going to take more of a bottom six role, with the additions of Gabe Vilardi, Alex Iafallo, and, everything else that we're going to see. And I'm assuming that Cole Perfetti will be playing some center. Kevin Cheveldayoff alluded to that. So I do think that Namestnikov will be, playing more of a third to fourth line role this season, probably where he's better suited and more effective. And I think that Vlad will be a really nice, or continue to be a really nice addition in that bottom six. So I'm very excited for Vlad. Says he loves it here in Winnipeg. Don't hear a lot of that from players, so, refreshing to hear. Vlad Namestnikov, very happy to have you back. And to close out day one of free agency, all these moves were done on day one. The Jets go out and they sign a massive player, Jeffrey Viel, I believe that's how you say it. He's a left winger, 6'2", 205. He can score goals and he can get assists, but all this guy really does is fight, to be honest with you. Go look up Jeffrey Viel right now. Go look him up. Go to images and go try to find a picture of him not fighting someone. Oh my god, I tried so hard to try to find a picture of him just in a Sharks uniform, not fighting, and that wasn't maybe 100 pixels, right? But this is the best I could do. So Jeffrey Viel signs a 1-year deal, and here's the kicker, guys. It's a one-way deal. So is this the Saku-Maenalainen replacement? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the thought process is here for Jeffrey Viel. If he's just an AHL player, fine by me. I think that's all that he really is. I don't think that he's that good based on what I've seen or watched from him or heard about him. He's just, muscle. If he makes the team, okay, fine. But I don't think that this is a guy that should be in the lineup. But we'll see. The Jets like to do some funny stuff to us sometimes. And just a few days ago, Axel Johnson-Fialbi has signed a 2-year extension with the Winnipeg Jets, previously claimed off of waivers from the Capitals last offseason, in the preseason. He was a really nice addition, just, definitely nothing crazy. A guy that can come into your fourth line, add some speed, add some, playmaking touch. I won't say scoring touch because that guy could not score to save his life, but 2 years at $775K AAV. I mean, you can't really complain about that. He's really good depth. I like him. He's young enough to. AGF, welcome back to the Jets. And the Jets did go make a very small trade. They traded for Artemi Nizev. I believe that's how you say it. He is an AHL defenseman for the San Jose Sharks. Brought over to Winnipeg. In return, the Sharks get Leon Gawanka, a guy that had a very good year for the Moose last season, but really isn't in the cards to be an NHL player, really, and the Jets trade his RFA rights to the San Jose Sharks, where he is now a Shark. Maybe he'll have an opportunity there. I know they are rebuilding, so maybe, Gawanka, who's still relatively young, does get a shot, but he's basically a dead asset here, signed in Germany for 4 years. I don't know how that's going to affect, his career, if he's going to, opt out of that if he can. I don't know how that works. But if Gawanka goes to the Sharks, best of luck to him, 24-year-old. And Artemi, Nizev, I believe that's how you say it, plays. He is a defenseman. He's 22 years old. I think that's a very good move by Cheveldayoff. Does he turn into anything really? I doubt it. He's probably just Moose depth. But I do think that he's a player that can help the Moose, be competitive, and he is young enough that maybe, he does break out, and maybe he does become an NHL player. Who knows? But that's just the small little trade there. Nothing too crazy about him. So to this point, that is all that, the Jets have done in free agency and in, the re-signing phase. The Jets do have a lot of RFAs to sign, including Dylan Samberg, Gabe Vilardi, Rasmus Kupari, just so many names that need to be dealt with, and I do believe that they will get done. However, it is a slow process, right? Right now, the Jets need to figure out what they're going to be doing with Mark Scheifele, with Connor Hellebuck. They need to figure out what they're going to be doing, and, with the RFAs, they need to see how long that these guys want to sign. They want to see if, they're more interested in a long-term deal or a bridge deal, right? So it is going to be a long, drawn-out process that is probably going to take a couple of months here, but I do expect most of these RFAs to sign. I don't see a world where we really lose any of them. Logan Stanley's another one. I think that he could be bundled in a trade. The Jets are looking to, get rid of that logjam on defense, as Chevy said. So we'll see what happens with all of that. But I do believe that Dylan Samberg will be here for a long time. I think that the Jets really like him, and I think that Samberg has carved out a role for himself here with the team. So we'll see what happens going forward, but I'm very confident that most of these deals get done, no problem. So the Jets currently have 42 contracts, that are signed. 50 contracts is the limit. So when you go and you try to sign those RFAs, I believe there's 6 of them. And then if they want to sign Barlow, that kind of tightens things up for roster spots. So I wonder if the Jets are kind of going to look to move players first before moving, Scheifele and Hellebuck, and try to figure out what avenue they're going to go there. I can see a Logan Stanley being added to a trade. I can see a Ville Heinola being added to a Mark Scheifele, Connor Hellebuck trade. But it's yet to be seen what those trades are going to look like. So I'd imagine, if the Jets are getting a 3-piece deal back from a team or a 4-piece deal, they are going to need to move some contracts so that they can fit those contracts under there. And that's what I do believe that, this pause could be, where they aren't really doing anything right now. They're just kind of reevaluating their situation, and I think that that's healthy for sure. I don't expect Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck to be Winnipeg Jets. If there's one of them that are going to be a Winnipeg Jet, I think it's Mark Scheifele. But at this time, I do think that both of those guys will be on different teams, and the Jets are going to look very different. And, they already look different right now, but I think it could look even more different come next season. But we will wait and see on that front. That is all just speculation. But I think it should be fun, and I'm excited to see what this new era of Winnipeg Jets hockey looks like, not only for next season, but in the seasons to come here, as we have fun prospects coming up like Brad Lambert, Kobe Barlow, Rucker McGroarty, Danny Zhilkin. So many guys to talk about here, and I'm just excited for the new era. I feel rejuvenated a little bit as a fan, trying to see some of this stuff happen, right? And it's finally happened after years of pondering and, begging Kevin Cheveldayoff to make some of these moves. He's done them. it's time, and I'm happy that we are, where we are right now, and I think that we are in for even more good change here in Winnipeg. But with that said, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Leave your comments down below what you guys think about the offseason so far. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This offseason has been a blast. Go check out the other videos that I mentioned already. The Blake Wheeler one, PLD. Go check them out. Go support the channel. Thank you so much, guys. But I'm going to hop on out of here. Have a great day, everybody. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.